Hello, 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 YouTube. My name is rhianaB. Welcome back to my RuPaul Drag Race Season 14 review series, and tonight we are going to be covering episode number 4. So this video either might be delayed or it might just be coming a little bit late on Friday. My workload has been astronomically crazy, so I've had very little time to actually sit down here, record, or even edit anything. And also, we were victim to the winter storm that was gonna sweep through a lot of the Midwest and the Northeast. So we got a ton of snow today. So I just was very tired. I just wasn't necessarily in the mood to record, but I'm here anyway. But that's also the reason why I'm not really dressed up for the video like how I normally like to do it. So bear with me that I am not really done up the way I normally am. But I wanna get this video done, so we're gonna push through it and we're gonna delve right into this episode. But also make sure to hit the subscribe button as well as hitting the bell icon so you can be notified about any of my future RuPaul Drag Race videos. And also make sure to give this video a thumbs up to let me know that you liked it. So one of the big things of this episode is this conflict between Kennedy and Cornbread. Cornbread sees Jasmine as not being fully aware of how talkative she is or how much she isn't aware of how other queens view her, I guess is a way to put it. Jasmine is a talker. She even said herself that, she doesn't like dead air, which, I mean, I understand that can be awkward and maybe she's afraid of the awkwardness, but dead air is sometimes very important. And I know this coming from the theater world that sometimes you do need a little bit of like blank space. You need some, for lack of a better word, dead air to make sure everything is going smoothly. So I agree with Cornbread that she's not being fully, that Jasmine is not being fully aware of how she is talking so much and how it really is just kind of her rambling or just kind of, I don't know, having her brain just like going off. But there was a lot of tension between the two of them. And I think by the end of the episode, it was fine, but I don't know if we're going to see this again or not. I do think that the whole Jasmine talking too much is probably going to be brought up again in the future. We will see on that. So for the Maxi Challenge, we are going to be doing teases for Season 14. We're still in the COVID era of Drag Race, so there's very little that they can do as far as some challenges are concerned. So I understand the need to do a challenge like this because it's going to be all the queens themselves, Michelle and Carson are going to help mentor them a little bit. It's all within house. But honestly, this is a really cool concept. I really like the idea of doing fake teases because I didn't realize until I watched them in this episode that the teases were used as actual teases for the season. I mean, that's great marketing right there. So I thought that was really, really cool. Because, I mean, a couple of those moments kind of had me fooled for a second. I mean, I think the one I always remembered is Maddie, as we know now, the one crying, being like, I don't want to be here anymore. But it's so funny how they actually used it to promote the show. So our teams, we have Team Willow, who was the winner of the last challenge. And on Team Willow, we have Cornbread, Lady Camden, Bosco, Carrie Colby, Georges, and Jasmine, which Jasmine ended up picking her own group because she was the last one picked, which is odd how she picked to be on a team with Cornbread, but hey. And then the other team, we had Team Maddie, who was the lip sync winner of last episode. And on Team Maddie, we have Deja Skye, Diabetti, Angeria, Alyssa, and Orion. I actually think both of these are pretty well-rounded teams, so it was very interesting to kind of see them during their rehearsal process to see who would stand out. Me personally, I thought that Willow stood out the most on her team, whereas Angeria obviously was the big standout on her team. We have seen a little bit here of Georges not giving enough of an oomph. She is not going for the gusto, I guess is probably one way to say it. So she really needs to learn to kind of just let it go and just kind of be unafraid. I think she's holding back a little bit because maybe she's afraid to look, for lack of a better word, busted. But honestly, to show your quote-unquote ugly side, that can kind of be beneficial because it shows that you're actually trying to get further in the competition. And I think maybe after this week, she'll actually be able to bring that in and apply it to future challenges, but we will have to wait and see on that. Alyssa had quite a bit of content in this episode, which is either a sign that she wins the challenge or she's going to be lip syncing for her life, but she did have a lot of context. One of them was that in her group, Maddie was the one who was taking the charge of her team, and she had really great ideas. Maddie had really good ideas to bring to the table that a lot of the other queens were really into. Alyssa was trying to put her 2 cents in, and a lot of the queens kind of shut her off. Again, there's another thing about, she's obviously a Puerto Rican queen. I believe that English is her second language. So it's the constant conversation of, do the Latin queens get treated differently or treated unfairly because they can't speak English as well as some of the other girls? I don't know, because that's such a touchy subject matter. But I think there's maybe, in a sense, a higher stigma, especially from Alyssa, because she is such a big star in Puerto Rico in the drag community. So maybe there's more pressure on her compared to some of the other girls who are Latina and have walked through that door. I don't know. It's a weird subject matter, and I don't have all of the research or the in-depth analysis to really cover that in this, but it was brought up, so I had to mention it here. So actually getting to the teases, I don't know if necessarily one team did overall better. I think if I had to choose, I would choose Team Maddie, because I felt like there was more of a collective, everyone did a good job, whereas on Team Willow, I do think there were specific highs and lows. But I think it's undeniable that Willow Pill on her team was the absolute star of that teaser. It truly made me crack up. I was just so entertained by what Willow was giving. It was absolutely incredible. Like, I could not stop laughing. On Team Maddie, I think obviously the big star was Angeria. And on Team Maddie, I think it is undeniable to see that Angeria was the big star on that team. And again, I think a lot of the other girls did really well. I think Deja did well. I kind of wish Dia had more of a part in it, but also Orion didn't get that much, to be fair, so it is what it is. But Angeria was absolutely hilarious. I mean, her saying, you ugly bitch, like in her accent was like pure perfection. Like, it was incredible. Loved it so much. So if we were going off of team wins this episode and not individually, I would say Team Maddie would have won, because I just felt like the other teams just wasn't as it wasn't melding together as much as I would have preferred it to be. So one big thing about this episode is that this is basically a night to celebrate Miss Jennifer Lopez. J-Lo herself, the runway theme is a night of 1,000 J-Los, and J-Lo herself sent a pre-recorded message to the girls. I don't like it when, celebrities send in the pre-recorded tapes. I mean, you did something, so I guess that is something I have to acknowledge. But I mean, come on, we had Scarlett Johansson, we had Anne Hathaway, all of these celebrities were doing like live chat. It was with the girls in the room. That is more of a better connection, it feels more authentic, whereas if you just send a pre-recorded message, it feels like you didn't have enough time, or maybe you just didn't want to have a full-on conversation with drag queens you don't even know. I don't know. I'm not the one in charge of the promotions or the money involved, blah, blah, blah. Plus, this was an episode very much giving promotion to her new movie coming out, so there's that. But anyway, let us get to the runway. First up is Willow Pill. I think this is really cute. It's not an obvious J-Lo reference by any stretch of the imagination, but I think she rocked it for what it was. Very 90s, very much that aesthetic. I like the hair on her, actually. And honestly, it's a pretty good replica of that dress. I think she rocked it really well. It's very unconventional, which I think is very much Willow's speed. So I will give this look a toot. Next is Cornbread. This is actually very nice for Cornbread. I actually think the dress is pretty similar to the J-Lo look. The only thing that bothers me is the goddamn hair. The hair. Girl, why can you not have full volume wigs? I know that you like the more authentic female hair. I can't figure out a better way to say it, but Girl, you need to add volume. Your head looks so tiny compared to the rest of you. Why are you making your head so tiny with the hair choices? I just can't. I can't boot this because the dress is actually very nice, but girl, I need better hair from you, Miss Cornbread. Next is Lady Camden. This was actually one of my favorite looks of the night. I actually think this is very nice. Obviously, it is not the same fabric. You can tell that it is a more cheaper material for, again, lack of a better term, but I do really like the choice here. It looks great on her. I love wide leg pants, and I've flowed really, really well. The hair looks great. She did a lot of things right in this look, for sure. I really enjoyed it, and even though the fabric is a little distracting because it's obviously not meant to be the same fabric that JLo actually used, because that would make it a way more expensive outfit, I still think she rocked it. So for sure, I'm giving this look a toot. Next up is Bosco. I do not like this. And this is one look that I always remembered. This is one of my favorite JLo looks that I've ever seen her wear. It's from the Golden Globes. It was a beautiful golden dress, looked perfect on her skin. I don't like how she picked this very almost flat gold metallic fabric. It just looks so flat compared to the actual JLo look. The hair I don't think is bad, but also I wish she had done a more simplistic makeup for this look, because I don't think JLo wore a ton of makeup on that particular Golden Globes look. I might need to look at the picture again, but I wish that her eyebrows weren't her typical shape. I think this was the one time Bosco could have done a different makeup. And is her nose, does she contour her nose that much? Because I felt like her nose looked a lot bigger when she was on the stage. It could be me, I don't know, but there was something weird about her face. I mean, it's not a bad dress. If it were just, you know, a dress that she would walk out on without a reference to JLo, I think it would look fine, but it's so flat, I just could not get behind it, so I have to give this a boot. Next is Carrie Colby. I mean, come on. This is the most iconic JLo look. Everyone knows this look. Classic Versace and JLo. Bitch walked out onto this stage with the actual new version of that green Versace dress. I mean, how the hell did she even get this dress? Have we figured that out? How did she get the dress? But I mean, come on. She looks absolutely stunning. She looks absolutely gorgeous. Damn it. She's so pretty. Oh, I mean, this is the perfect look for Carrie to rock. She is serving it, giving you the JLo energy. I mean, what else is there to say? This is a toot. I mean, this is perfect for Carrie to do this. Next up is Gorgeous. This is definitely kind of a half-assed attempt at doing the Super Bowl look. Again, how many times do I have to say it in this review series? What is up with these queens and not getting their mesh-toned fabrics correct? It looks so pale. It looks so pale on her, and I just cannot get on board with it. I can't. I think it was a decent attempt to try to do the look, but the fact that that mesh fabric, that damn mesh fabric, I've had so many problems with it throughout this entire season, but it makes her look so pale, especially on the stage. I think the hair looks nice, and obviously Gorgeous knows how to sell a garment, but I can't. I think I have to give it a boot just because it's such an obvious forced nude illusion type of a thing. I can't. I love you, Gorgeous. You are a fierce model, but I cannot with that mesh fabric. I just can't. Next is Jasmine Kennedy. Again, one of my favorite looks of the night. Apparently, I liked a lot of the pink red tones in this runway, but this looks great. It's almost a perfect exact replica. There's a couple, the ombre is a little off, but it's not enough to fully distract me. This is good. I wonder, does she make her own garments? Like, did she make this dress? Because if she did make that dress, holy shit. But even if she didn't, it's still a great look. It matches the JLo look very, very well. And yet it does seem like something that I think Jasmine would wear. It's very flirty, very cute. It's that very 1950s style. and I really enjoy this. So I will give this a toot. Next up, Maddie Morphosis. I don't hate this. I think she got the look pretty down, and even the whites, like all the white pieces, they do correlate very, very well. And that's not easy to do when you're trying to match white fabric, knowing that it's going to be on a stage with tons of different lighting, that it's going to make it look off. I actually do enjoy it. It is safe though. This is a very safe look, and I kind of want Maddie to push it a little bit more on the runway. I think she knows how to model certain looks for sure, as we saw from last episode, but a lot of her looks are a little flat to me. Like, they're not giving me enough of a factor. I mean, her entrance look and the Guy Fieri inspired look, that was fantastic because the reference was there. And the star look from the last episode was really well done as well. But a lot of her other looks are just so basic. And I hate to say it's a basic look, but I don't know. So I'll give it a toot. It's safe, but it does work. So I have to acknowledge that. Next is Deja Skye. It is such like a toned down version of the JLo look you were trying to do. Obviously, the cape is not the correct, it's not even the correct like semi-close fabric. The print, there's no print at all. It was not a good choice for her to do that solid royal blue. And even the bodysuit underneath, I wish there was a bit more of a sparkle. Because you can see in the JLo look, there's a lot of sparkle. It's like a very, probably glitter-infused fabric. Yeah, I have to give it a boot. I have nothing else to say. It's off on so many levels. I have to give it a boot. Next up, my girl, Daya. Love this look. And I know I'm biased because I love Daya to pieces, but this is great. This is still her rock edge, but it's sexy. And Daya does know how to do sexy. I have seen plenty of her numbers in person where I know she can do sexy. And this perfect combination of what she can do with what her drag is. It's rock base, it's got the edge, she makes it a little flirty with the hair, with the pink tearaway cape, robe, whatever the hell you want to call it. I love it. I love it. And obviously, this is a little bit more of a more simplistic makeup look for Daya, but I think it looks really good on her. It looks really, really nice. I mean, I love this look. I love Daya. Got to give this a toot. Next, Angeria. I mean, come on. Just like Carrie Colby, it's a classic JLo look. It's from the Met Gala, and she did it very, very well. Again, not an exact replica. The necklace is not right, but I think that touch, it's just draggy enough to make it Angeria's. It's not trying too hard to be JLo. It's still incorporating the drag element into the look. I mean, it looks absolutely fantastic. I think the only thing is that obviously, girl, you need to like cut the toes off of the pantyhose, because I can tell you're wearing pantyhose with that look, with the open-toed shoe. But I mean, the dress, the necklace, the earrings, the skull cap, which is the most iconic part of this look to me, you gotta love it. It's a toot. Alyssa Hunter is next. This looks awesome. I'm a sucker for like the gangster style, the 40s and the 50s, like those tailored blazer and pants, the fedora, and a little extra surprise with the corset underneath. I kind of wish it wasn't so bulky around the midsection because, especially since there's a lot of stones there, it can kind of make your midsection look a little bit bigger, but I love this look. I think she totally made it her own. The extra jewels were a nice touch. So this looks awesome. And I think actually her makeup looks a little bit better today. I think she finally toned down the highlight. It's not nearly as bright as it was. So I love this. Gotta give it a toot. Finally, we have Miss Orion's story. Again, a very safe choice. Yeah. Again, I don't know if she made this look. I know she makes her own garments, but it's just so safe. It's very basic. I don't know. It's a beautiful dress. I think if she did make it for her, she made it very well. The hair, that's not the right hair. Girl, you need to have pulled it back into like a messy ponytail or something. The makeup, I kind of want her to like, almost like what Rose had a problem with last season with her makeup not being like quote unquote draggy enough. I guess even that, and even Scarlet Envy had the same problem too on her season, but she needs to like drag out her makeup a little bit more because I am getting a little bit of I'm getting a little boy, but it's not a bad look. It's just kind of safe. So I guess kind of like Maddie, I'll give it a gentle toot because it's nice on her, but it's not giving me the pow that I want to see from her. So during the judging, our tops were Willow, Deja, and Angeria, and our bottoms were Cornbread, Carrie, and Alyssa. Here's the thing, I feel like this was an episode where it was very hard to pick who was the worst. People were boring, but they weren't like astronomically bad that they deserved to be in the bottom, so it was rather interesting to see who was actually going to be picked for the bottom. I think it was very obvious that Alyssa was going to be probably in the bottom or win because of how much content she did get in the episode. But obviously we were proven that it was the former, so do I agree with the choices? I kind of wish Maddie had been considered in the top because I think she did a really great job of leading her group, and I think she did a pretty good job in the challenge as well, so maybe there's that. But other than that, I do agree with it. I think the ones that were picked were the standouts. I mean, Willow was making me laugh really hard, and Jerry was giving me attitude that was making me very, like, involved. And the bottoms, I guess I agree, but it was very hard to pick who was going to be in the bottom. So our winner was Miss Angeria. I do think it is deserved, and already at 2 wins, this is a queen we need to keep our eye on, because she is here to play the mother effing game. And then our bottom 2 were Carrie and Alyssa, and this is where the controversy comes in. The lip sync was fine. For sure, in my opinion, Alyssa won that lip sync. And I think most of us who watched that episode would agree that Alyssa did the better lip sync job. Yes, she had a prop malfunction, it happens, but she was able to save it and make it work for her, where I kind of forgave it because she was selling everything else. Whereas Carrie, I think she was fine, but she just wasn't, I don't know, I don't think she was incorporating like the sexy club go type of a thing that I think Alyssa was giving. She was doing these really weird dance moves and I'm just like, girl, that's not what I would imagine the song to have choreographed with. So to a lot of people's shock, and even people that I watched them react to the episode or watch like reviews of the show, a lot of people were gagged. I was too. I thought Alyssa won that, but Carrie was chosen to stay and Alyssa was sent home, and she did not have the golden chocolate bar, which means Alyssa is the next person to leave the competition. As much as I like Carrie and as much as I want to see more from her, I just did not agree with that outcome. To me, Alyssa for sure won that lip sync. I don't know. I'm not Ru, so who am I to say? But me personally, if I were in Ru's shoes, I would have picked Alyssa to stay. So actually, I got a little off topic. I actually forgot to talk about the mirror moments in this episode because they were actually very interesting. So when the girls were getting ready in the room, Maddie and Alyssa were talking about their dads and how Maddie's dad has been actually very supportive of his drag career, which I think is awesome, given like in the Midwest, there's not a lot of people who are accepting of LGBTQ+ or drag culture. So I think it's really cool that Maddie's dad has embraced the drag career that his son has taken on. But now this leads to a very interesting one. And again, this leads to Alyssa having a lot of content in this episode. Turns out that Alyssa had been caught with some sexy images on his phone, and her father caught them, but it led to, instead of like an interrogation almost, like, why do you have this on your phone? Da, 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 da. It turns out Alyssa's dad is also gay. Like, that's something you would probably like find in a TV show. It's like, when do you hear that happening in real life? That's really crazy. But I think it's really cool as well, because now the two of them have bonded over their shared queerness. And I don't think there's any real reason for her father to be objecting of drag. It's such a big part of the LGBTQ+ culture. Although we have heard some people who aren't as supportive of drag or having people that they know involved with drag. But I thought that was such a cool story about Alyssa's dad being gay himself. That was really, really cool, and a story we don't really hear that often on this show, or really at all. So I thought that was very fascinating, very cool. So with that weird segue there, that's pretty much it for the episode. This is actually a lot shorter of a review than what I've done in the past 2 reviews now, so really I have nothing else to discuss. So I hope you all liked this video. I will see you next time for episode 5, and until then, make sure to give this video a big thumbs up, leave me comments down below. What were your favorite looks from the runway? Who do you think should have stayed? Who should have gone home? Anything you would like to discuss, I would love to read those comments down below. And also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell icon so you can be notified when my future videos come out. That's all I have for you all today, and until the next video, bye! Mwah!